how prepared do you think we are as a state for the virus?
We're remarkably prepared.
The governor answering your questions tonight about the coronavirus as the number of confirmed cases in the Hoosier State grows.
An urgent step by IU as the coronavirus spreads, what it means for students around the state when they return from spring break.
You obviously don't see it now, but we'll go in search of sunshine in my 7-day forecast and find some.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Now at 5 new cases of coronavirus in Indiana. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starrentino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. The state health department confirmed 2 more cases today, bringing the total to 6. The first new case is a woman in Boone County. The health department there says she had contact with a confirmed case at a social event out of state. She is isolating herself at home and is no longer showing symptoms.
The second new case is in Adams County in northeast Indiana. We do not know anything about that person. The other 4 cases already reported, 1 in Marion County, 2 in Hendricks County, and 1 in Noble County. And as the virus continues to spread, RTV6's Stephanie Wade goes straight to the governor to get your questions answered.
Here's Stephanie now with the latest.
Governor Holcomb telling me tonight we are, quote, remarkably prepared for the virus. He says he's been having weekly conversations with the vice president, making sure we have the resources and agencies in place. What can you say and what can you tell Hoosiers who might be feeling fearful or afraid of the coronavirus?
Well, there's no fear. We need to be prepared.
And that's what the governor says they've been doing tonight after having 2 more confirmed cases of the coronavirus Tuesday, making the total of 6 cases in Indiana right now.
This will be different in different situations, whether it's events or schools or businesses. You need to respond appropriately. And as the facts change on the ground, you must have to change as well.
He's encouraging employers to work with their employees as we see school districts like Avon Community Schools taking action after 2 students showed symptoms. The governor saying their decision to close all of their schools through the rest of the month was the right one for them.
Employers need to be working with their employees. And again, different businesses deal with different circumstances and scenarios. Some have a workforce that travels perpetually, some never.
The message to folks at home.
As you look around the country and you look at the trends, what we have to do is make sure that people are taking the appropriate steps. The partnerships are in place. We have the resources.
Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
And the Indiana State Health Department also has a 24-hour hotline. The call center has received nearly 900 calls since March 6th from healthcare providers and the public. From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., call 317-233-7125. Calls after 8 p.m. should go to 317-233-1325.
Indiana University is taking an urgent step in the wake of the coronavirus, temporarily suspending face-to-face classroom teaching. There are no known cases of COVID-19 on any IU campuses in the state, but after spring break, which is next week, students on all IU campuses will be taught remotely for 2 weeks. This also includes IUPUI. That's from March 23rd through April 5th. Face-to-face in-classroom teaching should resume on April 6th, but that could change. Due to the coronavirus and the flu, Gleaner's Food Bank has switched to drive-through food distribution at its community cupboard on the southwest side. It started today. Hundreds of families still picked up their boxes of food and fresh produce, but they didn't have to get out of their cars. This way, if anyone has concerns, their exposure to other people is limited.
We're not trying to buy into any kind of panic. We just want to make sure that people know that this way they can still come in, get their food, and feel safe while they're doing it. We don't want people to stay home out of some concern that they may have. We want them to get their food today. So we modified our pantry a little bit to make sure they can drive on through and get it.
Gleaners expects to follow this drive-through procedure for the next 30 days. Hours tomorrow at 10 to 3 and on Thursday 2 to 7. There will be no distribution Saturday due to staffing. The community cupboard is located at 3737 Waldemere Avenue on the southwest side near I-70 and I-465.
COVID-19 virus cases are continuing to rise both around the world and here in the U.S. ABC News counts more than 5,000 COVID-19 tests have been administered across the country, and at least 36 states have tested positive for the coronavirus. ABC's Megan Tervizian is in New York City with the latest.
New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing the country's first containment zone around New Rochelle, New York, describing the area as a particular problem with a cluster of confirmed COVID-19 cases.
The numbers are going up unabated, and we do need a special public health strategy for New Rochelle.
The containment zone will be a 1-mile radius and is expected to last 2 weeks. It involves closing all schools and stopping large gatherings as the area is disinfected. The National Guard will deliver food. In Washington state, Governor Inslee is restricting access to nursing homes. There are now 3 nursing homes in the state with confirmed coronavirus cases. 23 people have died. The University of Washington has now opened a drive-through testing site for its medical employees.
What we've learned from viruses like SARS and other coronaviruses is that they can really rapidly disseminate through a hospital and cripple a healthcare workforce.
Overseas, in the last 24 hours, Italy's death toll is soaring. They are the nation with the second largest number of cases after China, and that's even after the Italian government put the entire country on lockdown. The death toll in Iran also rising by dozens. And here's what it looks like inside the Pentagon briefing room, with new social distancing measures in place, putting the chairs further apart. The Surgeon General warning Americans it will most likely get worse before it gets better.
Things like school closures, things like pulling down large social gatherings, things like telework policies. Those are all steps that folks should be thinking about in case they have an outbreak in their communities.
The United Nations is also closing its headquarters to the general public and limiting the number of staff working there. The Securities and Exchange Commission is becoming the first federal agency to ask its Washington, D.C. employees to telework from home. Megan Tavrizian, ABC News, New York.
No dismal news on Wall Street today. The Dow bounced back in a major way. It closed up more than 1,100 points, erasing about half of yesterday's losses. Experts say hopes build for a greater response from the Trump administration to the economic threat from the coronavirus outbreak. However, market watchers say more big swings are likely until the outbreak starts to slow down.
As the coronavirus spreads across the country, we are on information overload, and that's why you'll want to tune in to a special report Friday here at 7, Coronavirus, the facts. Our Scripps national team has been asking the questions you want answered, and that's Friday at 7 o'clock right here on RTV6. Health officials say the best way to guard against this virus is to learn about it. We've compiled our reporting and everything you need to know about COVID-19 for you in one spot. Just head to the indychannel.com/coronavirus.
With Kevin Gregory in the Storm Team 6 Tracking Center, and we got some rain overnight into this morning and cloudy day all day today.
Can't shake the clouds.
Yeah, how much more can we expect?
The rain's going to come back on a number of occasions, but not as heavy as what we had. Hello, Bloomington. Look at you. Almost 0.8 of an inch of rain today. Had under 0.2 in Indianapolis. The cloud cover, I'll show you where it gets a little break in the clouds here in a second. No rain in central Indiana. We're dry this evening and probably dry until Thursday afternoon into Thursday night. We zip to the north. All of the gray here represents the cloud cover. The clearing line is trying to sag to the south, not being very successful, but just to show you, some spots have sunshine in Michigan and northern Illinois. Not here. 46 in New Powell, temperatures 44 down in Johnson County in Greenwood. Everybody in the mid-40s. We've actually fallen below average, but the high temperature that goes in the books today, 57 degrees, but that was at 5:25 this morning, probably before your alarm went off. Temperatures have been falling steadily since then. Through the evening hours, lots of clouds, no rain. Sunset's just about quarter till. Temperatures by 11 o'clock down in the low 40s with mostly cloudy skies.
There's a big turnout expected tonight at the Northwest Hendricks School Board meeting. This is the district Call 6 Investigates has kept in the spotlight. We have followed every development as investigators brought up charges of child seduction against a Tri-West high school coach. And we told you about the subsequent firing of a different Tri-West employee, David Pyatt, after he shared surveillance video with RTV6. That video prompted him to call DCS, which brings us to tonight, the first meeting since that employee was fired. RTV6's Cornelius Hawker is live in Liston ahead of tonight's meeting. Cornelius.
Mark, like in board meetings past, tonight the board isn't expected to directly address the sexual misconduct allegations, instead opting to issue statements through their PR person. But tonight on the agenda, there are 3 people connected to the situation. The first 2 listed in the personnel report are Stacy and Nathan Bagley. They're the people who have been put on paid administrative leave since February 28th after the state moved to revoke their teaching licenses for their role in the situation. They're also going to be talking about David Pyatt. He was fired after sharing that video with us showing Tyler Bruce and the female student going into a room and turning off the lights.
You have people like Dave Pyatt standing up and being willing to lose his job to do the right thing and protect that girl. And I think there's a lot of people in the community that are outraged and want everyone to understand that that is the sort of personality that is representative of this community, not what we're seeing with the administration.
Andy also told me that firing David has really galvanized this community, bringing them together. And they say tonight so many people are going to show up. And in their opinion, they just want the board to do right by them and their students. I'm going to have a full recap of this meeting tonight for you on RTV6 News at 11. Live, working for you, live in Liston, Cornelius Hawker, RTV6.
An arrest in a Marion County murder from almost 20 years ago, and the Marion County Prosecutor's Office says it's thanks in part to advances in technology. William Swain is charged with the sexual assault and murder of Arthur McFall. McFall's body was found inside a room at the Old Dollar Inn on Keystone Avenue, just south of I-65 in October of 2000. Investigators carefully preserved the evidence in the murder, which matched up with Swain after he was arrested for theft in 2018. Prosecutor Ryan Mears says it means a lot to be able to solve this for the victim's family.
The last 20 years, they've had to deal with the fact that whoever did this to their loved one was out there walking free. And certainly, it's always nice to be able to call them and say, hey, we were able to arrest someone for the death of a loved one.
Investigators say a fingerprint found at the crime scene eventually matched that of Swain. Prosecutors also say Swain's DNA was determined to match DNA that was found on wounds to McFall's neck. Both were used in the FBI's DNA database to match up with Swain.
Some big events are on tap this month in Indianapolis, including the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Friday and the men's Big Ten tournament that starts tomorrow. IMPD's Homeland Security Department wants you to know it's ready to handle the crowds and has plans in place. Metro Police also say there are no targeted threats against any of this week's events.
There definitely will be an increased presence of officers in the downtown area to include officers from Homeland Security. So whether it's our traffic section or our tactical section, they'll all be out there. We fairly, regularly have big events in the city of Indianapolis, and we definitely have a protocol for how to handle them.
IMPD stresses if you see something that concerns you, even if it turns out to be nothing, make sure you notify police so they can check it out.
Still ahead at 5:30 on RTV6, the coronavirus is making it hard to find wipes and hand sanitizer. Coming up, what pharmacists want you to know about hoarding as they work to help stop the spread.
The IUPUI women's basketball team is going dancing. The Jaguars with a milestone victory today in the Horizon League Championship. We'll show you how they got it done and what's next.
And temperatures beyond the 7-day forecast are going up for us. But look, 2/3 of the country have below average temperatures. More on all of this coming up.
That easy. Call 1-800-CALL-KEN.
Indianapolis is hosting 4 full weeks of March Madness, including the Horizon League tournament.
The IUPUI women's team is celebrating tonight as they are heading to the big dance. Brad Brown joining us now with a look at their big win. Brad.
Amanda and Mark, good afternoon. It's already been a history-making season for the Jaguars women's basketball team. Their first ever regular season title in the Horizon League. This afternoon, they were cutting down the nets after earning their first ever bid to the NCAA tournament. A good crowd out at the Fairgrounds Coliseum, essentially a home game for the Jags here in Indy. Another great first half, the same as yesterday. On the break, Zionsville's Rachel McLemore gets out ahead. IUPUI had a 13-point lead in the second quarter. They would lead by 12 at halftime. Macy Williams scores inside. She had 13 points and 9 rebounds. Green Bay cut the lead to 5, but the Jags were able to stay in front. Holly Hoopengarner from Greenwood, 3-pointer late in the third quarter. She hit 4 of those in the game. Hoopengarner led the scoring with 16 points. This jumper in the fourth made it a 9-point advantage. And the IUPUI defense gave up 0 points in the final quarter. Destiny Perkins' 3 late, put it away. So they get the trophy, the confetti, and all of it. The Jaguars are going to the NCAAs for the first time. 51-37, a big step forward for the entire program.
Total team effort.
I got emotional on the sideline as the clock wound down. A lot of hard work, a lot of former players that have helped put us in this position. But I'm so proud of our kids. We built our program on defense. Fourth quarter, we hold them to 0 points.
It started from the very beginning, just having the confidence that we all knew that we had, and just like, if you ever felt down yourself, just don't let it get to you and just keep on going.
The whole season has been a long journey. We had a lot of new players come in this year, and, you know, we had to kind of see where the pieces all fit. And so to have it all come together here in my senior year in Indianapolis, it's amazing.
Great stuff. Hoopin Gardner named most valuable player of the tournament. Looks like the Jaguars will likely end up as a 13 or 14 seed in the NCAA tourney. The field of 64 will be announced coming up on Monday night.
Thank you, Brad. And since we're talking about basketball, we're going to be hearing a lot about it during this year's Indiana State Fair. And that's because this year's theme is basketball, celebrating the state that grew the game. The official announcement came today inside the State Fair Coliseum, the site of so many memorable basketball moments over the years. High school championships, the ABA Pacers, All-Star games, and more. Pacers Sports and Entertainment will be a primary sponsor of the State's Fair's theme.
The game started in Massachusetts, but Indiana was really the state that elevated basketball to the level that you see it today. And it was because of agriculture, and it was because of the kids working on the farms and finishing the harvest, and then they had the time between the harvest and planting the next crop where they could play the game.
Indiana State Fairgrounds first opened in 1892. The same year basketball was introduced in Indiana. Each year, the fair will be devoted to telling one of Indiana's greatest basketball stories. That's 17 stories. And by the way, the fair runs August 7th through the 23rd. And you know what? How timely. That's where the IUPUI win we were just talking about happened.
A lot in the car. I remember going there as a kid. And my dad, calm down, you got to go to school tomorrow, right? You get too excited. And it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, less than beautiful outside, but dry. We're between weather systems. That's why I show you Indy right in the middle of the cloud cover. Snow and rain to the northwest, rain to the southeast, and we'll generally be dry here for probably the next 48 hours. We'll show you when that rain will move back in. Rain chances tomorrow, minimal to the north. I'd put it at 10 to 20%. We have a few sprinkles. It's really Thursday and Thursday night that the next chance for rain returns. Friday dry, Saturday turns wet, and it's Saturday night that we may mix in some snowflakes with the rainfall. Then on Sunday, dry once again. Here's your temperature trend over the next 7 days. Temperatures bounce around a little bit above average next couple of days. Then we fall off to end the work week and go into the weekend. Not perfect timing that our coolest temperatures arrive over the weekend, but that too will be temporary. We'll make our move early next week back into the 60s, and as I showed you going to the commercial break, beyond the 7-day forecast, temperatures above average for the eastern kind of third or half of the country, including us. 39 in Peru, 45 in Bedford. It felt warmer this morning. Yes, for sure it did. Winds out of the northwest have been dropping the temperatures all evening. Say hello to Winston. Hello, Winston.
Hello, Winston.
I love his ear there. See, it's folded back. He wanted to make sure he heard everything I say this evening.
He is listening intently.
And those paws are clean. So he hasn't been out in the wet yard here for a little bit. Angie Evans sending in the picture. Thank you. And thank you, Winston. Temperatures in the 40s, barely. We'll drop into the 30s tonight. Chance of rain tomorrow, north at 20% as you get your day started. Temperatures move into the 40s. We battle the cloud cover. I, for once, show you the wind forecast, not to point out that it's going to be real windy, but that the wind will be relatively light. Remember, these are the gusts. Most of the day, 5 to 10 mile per hour wind out of the southwest. There's all the cloud cover that we expect through the day with maybe some breaks in there during the afternoon hours. Here's some specific high temperatures, almost 60 in Terre Haute, 56 in Indy. As you look at Thursday, there's a marginal risk for severe weather over the southern portion portion of the state. I think likely the best chance is going to be south of the Ohio River, but we'll keep our eye on that. Still got some time before that would arrive. Thursday temperatures in the low 60s. We have the warmth around, the increasing chance for rain late in the day, but most likely Thursday night into early Friday. The cooler weekend with the rain showers may mix with some snowflakes Saturday night. Then we turn it around and start to warm back up as we get to early next week. 61 again by Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
It's a mini Super Tuesday. Voters in 6 states going to the polls. The state that's considered the big prize tonight. Next.
Airing Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Hello to you. I'm Julie Grant with Court TV, and it is day number 4 of opening statements in the Jenks murder trial in Los Angeles. But this time, it's the defense's turn. Robert Durst, the infamous real estate heir, is facing murder charges for the second time in his life. The 76-year-old multimillionaire is accused of murdering his best friend and publicist, Susan Berman. Investigators believe it was to silence her so she wouldn't implicate him in the disappearance of his first wife, Kathleen. Officials believe that Durst killed his neighbor, Morris Black, for the same reason. In 2003, you may recall Durst was acquitted in Texas of Black's murder, but was convicted of dismembering his body. After his wife's disappearance, Durst was disguising himself as a mute woman. Defense attorneys are expected to focus on the lack of eyewitnesses and the lack of forensic evidence, and also try to establish sloppy police work and a rush to judgment with Durst. They will also likely draw attention to the fact that the apparent confession at the end of the Jenks was edited together and not what Robert Durst truly said. If convicted, Durst faces life in prison. Stay with Court TV Live for coverage of this case and all of America's most compelling criminal trials. I'm Julie Grant. Now back to you in the studio.
And you can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com. And it's another big day in the race for the White House. Voters in 6 states are heading to the polls.
Both Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are preparing for a big battle over Michigan, which is the biggest prize tonight. The other states where voters are casting ballots: Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, and North Dakota. Biden is hoping today's primaries will solidify his lead, while Sanders, who is trailing Biden in the delegate count, is hoping for a comeback. ABC is expecting to cut in with a brief special report at some point tonight with results.
Still ahead on the Now Indy, as this year's legislative session winds down, teachers weigh in on a big disappointment. You're watching RTV6.